Welcome to Rita Mary Commentary with co-host Gretel Corsall.
Our purpose is to introduce you to interesting, important, and fun happenings in and around Surprise.
We bring you new discoveries and things we rediscovered, some of which have been around Grand for a long time, but need revisiting because they can and will be, at some time in your life, relevant to you. In essence, we find, we explain and clarify, and introduce you to the people in the know. Welcome to Rita Mary Commentary with co-host Gretel Corsall, a show where we bring you new discoveries in and around the city that are relevant to you.
We find them, we explain, clarify, and introduce you to the people in the know.
How fitting we should begin this segment with an organization that has been in the West Valley for over 30 years. Gretel, have you ever heard of Benevilla?
I have, but I didn't really know very much about them, and knowing that we were going to be talking with their people, I did look up their link on the internet, and I realized what a valuable resource they are, but it was a name that I put in the back of my mind thinking that someday I would probably be able to avail myself of their resources.
Well, you know, I heard about them in and around the city, but I really had no conception of all the services that they perform. So, in keeping with this show's theme, we usually have guests. And Gretel, I'm hoping you can introduce our guests from Benevilla today so that we can find out more about this wonderful organization.
Yes, we have Dick Stuckey, who is a board member of Benevilla. We have Arlene Dixon, whose husband is a participant, and she is a caregiver. And we have Jennifer Lawless with us, who is a director of marketing for Benevilla. Jennifer, Dick, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us, Rita.
Let's begin by the most obvious question. Tell me more about what Benevilla is.
Well, Benevilla is an organization that has been here for over 33 years now, so we've been in the area for quite some time. And its central mission is to assist people that have needs to remain in their own homes for as long as they can and provide those services that are needed to allow that to happen. People can live their lives with dignity, and we do so by providing some daycare centers, about 6 daycare centers. One's a child development center. This is part of our evolving mission. But the others are 5 adult daycare centers that deal with Alzheimer's, dementia, restorative care, Helping Partners program, which is for the disabled adults, disability adults. And so we have the daycare centers, but more importantly than that, of the people that we reach are those that are staying in their own homes. And we do this by providing transportation, handyman services, meals if they need meals delivered to their homes, and just an assortment of phone service. People are lonely, especially if they're a single family member, they've maybe lost their spouse, and they can't do everything that they once could, but many people say, I just want to stay in my own home. Mm-hmm. I don't. Mm-hmm. For some people, going to assisted living is the answer, but not for all.
Well, now you're a board member, am I correct?
Yes, that is correct. I'm serving my 6th year on the board.
Wow. How did you actually begin to find out about Benevilla, or how did you learn about Benevilla?
Well, it happened due to a friend living here in Sun City Grand that said I should become involved with this organization, or be introduced at least to it. And I moved here in 2001, and for the first 4 or 5 years I was active still on some national boards. And at that point in time, in about 2006, I said, I'd like to do something more here in the community and stop some of the travel out of state. And that's how I encountered Benevilla and have been active in the organization ever since. I was very impressed by the staff at Benevilla, nearly 100 staff, and they all want to treat the people that they serve like they were family members.
Oh, I can feel those bones cracking.
It's pretty good.
I have a broken shoulder and I was
Like too fast? Oh, yes, don't look at them.
I'm gonna get up. Beautiful, you guys.
Hi, buddy.
I just want to say Dick and I were talking in the lobby about the fact that we do have over 1,000 volunteers that help us at Benevilla right now, which is incredible. The ratio is actually 9 volunteers per 1 staff member. So
Oh my.
that's amazing. But something that we are always seeking, especially during the summer, is more volunteers. And we call summer volunteers our summer heroes. Because our need doesn't change in the summer, but many of our volunteers go away for the summer. So I'd just like to mention it while I have the opportunity that we're always looking for summer volunteers.
Well, I'm going to go off script right now and ask
Okay.
you a quick question. If I wanted to volunteer, exactly what could I be doing? I mean, I'm not very strong. I probably couldn't fix an air conditioning vent, but what could I do?
That's a great question. The nice thing about Benevilla, and I can think of a couple examples, is that we can craft volunteer jobs to your talents. So I've had people come in that are retired English teachers, for example. I'm the director of marketing, and I'll say, hey, rather than delivering meals, why don't you come and help us write press releases? That's something that you might be interested in. And they get excited, and that sounds great. We have other volunteers that come in that maybe their own abilities change over the years, and we'll keep changing what they need to do. We really try and work with people. We know everyone brings their own set of skills, and so we want to just make it a fun experience, and that's why we have such a longevity of volunteers. Our average length of time is 7 years for people.
That's what I was going to ask you, actually.
I wanted to add one more thing, if I can interject here. A couple of things that we didn't mention was grocery shopping.
Oh,
that might be
my.
something. We do grocery shopping for people that can't get out of their own homes.
So if I broke my leg for
Yeah.
a certain amount of time and
A volunteer would come to your home, ask you what your grocery list was. You would pay for that grocery if you wanted. They would go to the store, buy the groceries, bring them back to you, put them on your shelves, and
oh my
and
Lord.
the other big one too is the transportation issues, taking people to doctor, dental appointments, and things like that. Some of the people aren't able to drive, and
That's-
so if that's something you can do, why? And what we see there is that people get set up into a routine so that they keep the same volunteer, and so they develop that relationship between the volunteer and the client, and it becomes it makes them lifelong friends doing that.
Absolutely.
How do you keep it alive and relevant and so vibrant and get so many volunteers over the years?
One of the challenges is to prioritize what you can do and not overextend yourselves. Right now I feel like we're kind of bursting at the seams, which is a good thing in some ways, but we have a community garden out there. It's for all ages. We have a bistro out there that has evening entertainments on Wednesday and Friday nights. We have the Intergenerational Center with the Child Development Center.
So now we have Wurtzy's Preschool, which is a wonderful preschool here in Surprise. And we also have a family resource center that helps grandparents raising grandchildren, and
Oh my Lord.
touched 19,000 people last year, this program. And so it's really neat. And with the Wurtzy's Preschool program, every day the elders that are in Lucienne's place and the children come together and do activities together. So people that are having some mild memory issues come together with these children. Of course, they all get permission to do this. and they do some amazing interactions. It's really wonderful to see how someone who's suffering from this disease of dementia can be with a child, and then suddenly memories are back. They remember old songs they sang to their own grandchildren. It's a really neat experience, and it's very therapeutic, but it's also very moving and neat to be a part of. We're one of the cutting-edge organizations doing this work, I'd say.
And I'd also add to that they develop relationships, the children with the older people. Some of these children come from single-parent homes, not all, but some do. And so they have limited time with their parents. And it's kind of like their grandfather, their grandmother there. And just like the older people that are there, kind of adopt these as grandchildren because some of their grandchildren don't live in the area. So they develop a special bond there. There's also an intergenerational garden, so they can do activities outside by planting and harvesting crops and things like plants and produce together. So there's a lot of activities that go on like that, and it's something that each of the groups, preschool and seniors, look forward to each day when they can get together and share some time.
That is really fantastic. But I want to ask you one other question that I personally would be interested in hearing about. Do you have any programs for caregivers or people who are spending 24/7 with a person who may have dementia and is still able to stay in the home?
It is a big part of their journey. They are able to drop their loved one off at one of our memory care centers and then come to a support group or do something positive for themselves. We provide a lot there for caregivers, absolutely.
An interesting statistic that struck me was that 60% of the caregivers pass away before the person that they're caring for.
Oh, my Lord.
You think the person they're caring for is the one that's in serious health and issues, which it is, but being a caregiver can take a real toll on that person, and 60% pass away before the person they're caring for does.
Arlene, tell us about you and your husband. What is Benevilla to you?
Well, first of all, I'll tell you a little bit about me and my husband. My husband and I are in a 53-year marriage. We have 2 daughters and 4 grandchildren. They are all in Minnesota. We've been here in Arizona, Sun City Grand, for 15 years, 10 of it full-time. And what is Benevilla to me? Benevilla is my lifeline. It's my husband's lifeline. I'm not sure what we would do. My husband's been a participant of Benevilla now for a year and a half. He's in the late stages of dementia. He's a very easygoing, agreeable individual. And we are doing very well. In fact, the experts, the neurologists, the people at Benevilla, some other experts have told us that we're doing far better than most. Why? I believe Benevilla, Lucy Ann's place, has had a great deal to do with that.
Could you tell us a little bit more, Arlene, about Lucy Ann's place?
Well, Lucy Ann's place is within the Benevilla umbrella. And it is specializes in memory care, more early memory care needs. Mary's place is the next step after that, and that's in Sun City. And it's intergenerational, so they once a day bring in the little people to mix with the adults, which is a joy. They have therapy dogs that come in. They have singing groups. They're doing drumming now, and our neurologist says this is extremely important. The stimulation that the participants receive is extremely important, and I know it's worked for us. The staff, they're really like family. I feel that we have a wonderful relationship with the staff. It works, and it allows me some time, whether I want to lunch with a friend or go home and have lunch with Jeopardy. It gives me time, and I really appreciate that. But it's so much more than that. You know, the social worker, Regina, has been a great help to me. The caregiver groups, I attend 2 caregiver groups. They have been amazing. And in fact, at some point, a few months ago, I felt like I was in a deep, dark hole. Responsibility is all mine, whether it's the house, the family, friends, taking care of my husband, taking care of myself. And I just didn't know what I was going to do. And, you know, they have ideas. A lot of them have already been on the journey. And when you've been on the journey, you know how to handle certain situations, you know where to go for help. And it is just wonderful. I can't tell you how very helpful that's been.
I would just like to comment, you know, Arlene and her husband are dear friends of Benevilla as well as participants and, you know, using services. But also, I know something special to Arlene's heart is the importance of early screening. So I'd like to take this opportunity. Arlene, would you just share a little bit about that? I think it's very important.
Please do.
Early screening, first of all, even before the screening, if there's an inclination that there may be issues with yourself or your loved one, it's important to talk about it, and talk about it in a very calm manner. It's a it's such a sensitive subject, but it's important to discuss it because it makes a difference in the relationship. Because if you don't talk about it, there's all those little, there's anger, there's resentment, there's a relationship friction. And once you talk about it and it's on the table, you begin to see things, or you